Hey, how you guys doing? It's the producer from Brothers Comics. Welcome to What We Missed in Wrestling, our recap podcast on professional wrestling from a long ago. It's part three, y'all. We did our field of 64 for March Madness, even though it's April. And we looked at the 64 greatest tag teams from 1985 ish to 2001 ish. We've gotten it down to the Elite Eight over the past two episodes, and we're going to crown our champion tonight. I really wish we could get a sponsor with the freaking simulator people. On the line tonight, it's the grappler and the high flyer. It's Magnum BB. What's happening, man?
I'll just forget sponsor. I'll just be glad we don't get like sued for like
Well,
that seems the
That's
more
a fair.
likely of the
That's a
two, right?
Nah, that's fair. Yeah. What shout them out again though is I always get it wrong. I want to call it Pro Wrestling USA, but that's not it.
Yeah. Pro Wrestling Superstar is the app that I can't. There's some iteration of that is the base game, but it was a Tecmo Bowl esque, or I guess not Tecmo Bowl, but Tecmo esque card based, dice based game for pro wrestling that we had many twists and turns and ups and downs with in our misspent youth.
Yes.
Now brought to us via the internet.
Nice. Yes. Yeah. Well, I've told that story on this podcast about how I left the game in my dorm room and they cleaned out my dorm and threw it out. Also on the line is Big Hutch. What's happening, man?
what's up? What's up?
Yeah, man, we're good and chilling here. We're gonna get into these Elite Eight matchups. If you hadn't been with us for a while, we had four zones: the NWA, WCW zone, the WWF, WWE zone, the regional zone with ECW and territorial champions, and then we had our two singles that formed a tag team. And we had some couple of upsets here and there. Only number one seed actually made it through, which is the Road Warriors. We got some interesting matches as it's come about that if this was legitimately happening like these, I think some of these matches would actually be well worth seeing. And there's a couple of them that have been happened many times, actually, especially when we get into one of the other brackets here. All right, y'all. So are we ready? Are we getting to it? The rule has been set up that if we are not unanimous in our decision, we will go to the simulator, and the simulator will help us decide who is moving on. All right. So here we
The
go. Out.
simulator is not absolute. We reserve the right. If
Yes.
it's credible and believable,
That
we
car,
reserve the right to revert
where
to
is
the
that?
numbers.
Right.
Yes, we
So,
do reserve the right
uh,
to over simulate the simulator there. All right. Let's go, y'all, into the WCW NWA bracket. It's the number one seed Road Warriors versus the number two seed, the Steiner brothers. Pretty much the chalk here. Now, if you've listened to any previous versions of this podcast, as we've been reviewing um, old pay per views, the Steiners and the Road Warriors had a match that the Road Warriors lost by pinfall. It was a dusty screw job finish, but the Steiners actually did get a pinfall victory over the Road Warriors. Um, Probably the two most popular tag teams I would say of the 80s and definitely early 90s. Both highly decorated. Uh, I'll throw it to Hutch. Hutch, you have said that this is a fait accompli, essentially that the Road Warriors are going to win this thing. I pushed back a little bit last week. So, what's your thought now going into this match?
um, the Road Warriors were the best. I mean, the best tag team ever. I think everybody acknowledges that. I don't think I ever seen them get pinned. Uh, and I do love the Steiners. They were probably mm, they're in my top five all time tag teams, maybe top two or three. If I had to think about it. So this is always be a great match. Only thing I got against the Steiners is that one of them went to Michigan or that place up north.
Didn't they both?
I
Or,
think they both went
or
to Michigan. Yeah.
oh, then that's the only reason I hate them.
Okay. Brother Beavis, we have noticed as we've gotten into 89 and 90, the luster is off the Road Warriors for sure. We're having to watch them sell. They lose matches. It's just not the same. So going into this match and having seen them lose to the Steiners, what's your thoughts going in?
I think part of it too is like we back in the day we didn't get to see a lot of the big matches, and so we're now really watching them work matches for the first time to any significance, and it's like this was better in small doses and like against lesser opponents. So they still go over, but the matches are tend to be a little bit screwier and things like that. This is the semifinals, y'all. We don't have time for screw job finishes. We must have a winner. I mean, the this is one that can go either way, and it kind of depends on when it is, right? Because the era that we've otherwise been watching is really the rise of the Steiners, and I think we saw that when they got a pinfall victory, and I think that's important because that shows you that the Road Warriors are willing to do business with a team like the Steiners. So you could really see this going either way, but we're in the business side of wrestling. Like I don't know if they had another match, if they did, outside of Japan. But from the business side of wrestling, since we've seen on our own podcast where the Steiners got to win, I think the Road Warriors got to get their win back on this one.
Okay. All right, y'all. We're going to the prediction portion of this. Just off the top, though, let me look at my notes here. All right. Road Warriors, AWA champions, NWA champions, WCW champions, and WWF champions, and WWE champions.
And
Nobody else
FAN
can make
champion.
that claim. Nobody else can make that claim. Like no other tag team can do that.
Some things don't exist no more.
Tag team of the year 83, 84, 85, and 88. The Road Warriors. Steiner's credentials: 7-time WCW NWA champions, and only 2-time tag team champions in the WWF. Only.
I mean, the belt
I don't
differential
know.
was kind of like it was difficult to put the belts on the Road Warriors because that necessitated taking the
'Cause
belts
you gotta get it
off
off.
the Road Warriors, and the
Right.
Steiners didn't really have that problem. So that the 7 to like was it 2?
Yes.
That and at least in the WCW NWA, that's not surprising to me.
Yeah.
But you did see like that of the year starts to tail off in the window we're in now. So I think this does kind of depend on when and where as well.
Yeah.
You forgot to
Both
throw in
Hall-
the Crockett Cup too, didn't you?
Mhm.
Yes, 87 Crockett Cup winners. Both Hall of Famers. Road Warriors in 2011. The Steiners just last year, actually, that they went in 2022.
Mhm.
Rick Steiner in the news for all the wrong things in the wrestling business. We talked about that last week. And the other 2 cats are RIPs. So, all right, let's go to it then. I'm going to go first. I'm taking the Steiners.
What?
I think overall they're the better wrestling team. They could brawl, they could wrestle, they could do everything, whereas the Road Warriors were essentially one-punch ponies. And I'm taking the Steiners. Hutch?
I thought it was gonna be all Road Warriors. I'm RW. I mean, yeah. I'm RW. What a
Brother
rush.
Beavis. We're going to the simulator. Yeah. Going to the simulator based on whatever, but yes.
All right. Yeah, I would go Road Warriors on this, and primarily, like I said, because business to wrestling, they're going to get their win back.
Okay. All right, so we go to the simulator here.
We have results on tape delay from the pay-per-view last night.
Yeah.
Let me see.
If the Road Warriors don't win, I don't know what we're gonna do. But it'd be Road Warriors. Yeah.
All right.
Can it be a greatest
I'm
tag
mad.
teams too? Electric
this-
Boogaloo.
I put this on spreadsheets.
All right.
Let me get rid of this.
damn,
All right, y'all. So on the simulator here, we're
So
having the match.
referee, Honest Abe, look
Honest
at this.
Abe.
Round
Nobody's
1,
cheating.
Frankensteiner.
Come on.
Just look, double team from the Steiners, and we get a Frankensteiner. Way too early. You can't not get a pin on that. But look what comes back. That Road Warrior Animal Power Slam.
Nice.
Best in the business. Come on.
Hawk's neck breaker as well. As always,
Yep.
one of my favorites as well.
Yep. So now this is a lot of double teaming in the first bar. We got an arm bar, locked in an arm bar here. So we're slowing it down. Animal with the chin lock, Steiner drop kick. Now we have brawling in the first Steiner line of the match. So it'd be interesting to see how that gets sold. Steiner's back on double team. Another Frankensteiner. Got to get him out of the ring. Can't pin,
Yeah.
Power smash is Hawk's specialty. Pin, Scott makes the tag. Let's see.
Suplexes.
Some brawling. Road Warriors. Oh, it's breaking down in Tulsa. Everybody's in the ring. We're at 11-minute mark. We've got some arm drags.
11 minutes is a lot for these big fellas.
Yep.
The
Hip
paint,
tosses.
the paint is coming off.
Yes.
Oh, it's breaking down another Donnybrook haymakers.
Haymakers.
Everybody.
Chicago brawl, my
brawl.
God. My God. It's breaking down. Slobber
Steiner's
knocker.
back in control with double team. Continued
15
double
minutes.
teaming. Steiner hits the woof, woof, woof.
Who would be doing this contest? Who would be the commentators?
Jim Ross and
Gotta be
somebody.
Jim Ross.
Yeah.
All right, so
he literally
another
jizzing
special move from Animal, Power Smash 11.
Power smash.
Goes for the pin.
Headlock.
Oh, and then they got enough points now. He's getting like 16 points just off getting off the pin. That's where a lot of this turns. Like you get pins for failed pin attempts. So, Scotty's injured. I did not see that.
Oh,
No.
Scotty's injured for 10
Spine
minutes.
buster. Spine buster.
Hawk attempts the pin.
One count. Kicks out at
Fallon,
one.
More pounds. Scott's still injured. So now it's Rick Steiner against the Road Warriors. How you feeling, producer?
Feeling not great.
Special Rick Steiner, Road Warriors.
Pinned. What move took him out?
The Power Smash, which is their
The Power Smash his finisher. That's fine. That's fine. All right. I'm fine. We will.
And I believe producer probably would have predicted a Rick Steiner pin.
Yeah, that's.
I'm sorry, Big Dutch. Sorry.
That's fine. The Road Warriors. I was always a Road Warrior fan. I was liking them back when they was in the AWA and Georgia Championship Wrestling, and when Ole Anderson brought them in from Minnesota.
So 21-minute match probably would have been a stretch, but
yeah, that's a stretch. That's a big stretch. Hutch, you happy now, man? Your team made it through.
That's ain't well. Yeah, I'm not happy with the. I mean, yes, I'm happy the Road Warriors made it through, but it ain't my team.
well,
Fine.
Mongolian Stomper and Yellow
Fever.
The Asian connection.
What did I call it?
I would have swore Mongolian Stomper was made up. It was only like several years ago. I realized
Yeah.
I was an actual wrestler.
Nice. All right. The next Elite Eight matchup in the two singles that form the tag team division. Our Cinderella story, y'all, is D-Generation X, and this is the Shawn Michaels and Triple H version versus the, one of the greatest WWEF tag teams, the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim Anvil Neidhart. DX as the 8 seed, the Hart Foundation as the 3. Let's do credentials first. Now, this is a WWF obviously centric match there. When the Hart Foundation comes up, there's all kinds of different tag teams. And so when I look at their stats, at least via Wikipedia, they're only 2-time WWE or F tag team champions. Like just 2 times. That's it. And the reason primarily for that is Bret's going to become a single here, not too long after they break up. And so they're only 2-time tag team champions. DX, this version with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, are 3-time tag team champions, but that's when they were hot shot and everything in the Attitude Era. Both in the Hall of Fame. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's also the era where tag teams stopped being at all
Yeah,
relevant in the
yeah.
WWF, which
A
is
bunch
you
of
think about we've had different teams on here, the Bulldogs, Heart Foundation, even the Killer Bees, like a lot of like historically really good tag teams in WWF, and tag team wrestling is just trash.
right. I was saying that the both are the Hall of Fame, DX in 2019, and Heart Foundation also went in 2019. Ironically, uh, the Bret Hart has no love for these other two dudes at all, especially Shawn Michaels.
Hey man,
That is real life blood feud between those two. Although I think I saw where they kind of made up or whatever, as Shawn Michaels found Jesus or whatever. But um, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, my initial thought would be to go always with the team that's the more traditional tag team, which would be the Hearts. But Business of Wrestling would tell you that Shawn Michaels not jobbing for Bret Hart, and Triple H is married to the boss's daughter. So I don't know. This should probably have been a grudge match when you ran it. This probably should have been in a cage or freaking Texas tornado or dog collar or something to that effect. Because again, no love lost in between these folks at particular times. So I started off last time. Hutch, you get to go. Who are you picking,
I'm
or who
picking the
did you
Heart
pick?
Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I always go with hot pink. I guess. The Heart Foundation, sure.
Brother Magnum BB.
Uh, so I mean, a lot of cases we've been faced with the two superstars versus the better tag team. But I mean, I think you have to look at this one from the perspective of there are three. I don't care who's in the Hall of Fame. There are three superstars in this competition,
And Jim Neidhart.
and one who is not.
Damn that.
So I have to go with DX on this for
TX.
that reason.
I thought Jim Neidhart was a real badass in real life.
He might have been, but he didn't get
Yeah.
pushed like that.
Right,
Not for
So,
wrestling
right.
purposes. Right. Yeah. Um, it's a line step, but he did give us Natalia. So, um,
Who's
Allegedly.
Natalia? Who's that?
Google it on your side there. His daughter, Natalia Neidhart. Not terrible. Um, I'm taking the Heart Foundation. The better tag team of the better tag team in this regard. I think the other two, it'd probably be some DQ finish. Because neither one of them are gonna lose like that or a count out or some fuck finish. But yeah, I take the Hearts here. So we're simulated again. Yeah, we're not gonna agree on any of this. Maybe. All right, let me turn it over. As Hutch is googling Natalia Neidhart there.
Hmm.
She's she has she's done well for herself in that regard.
Hmm.
You know. Yeah, and I mean he passed away a while ago too. Like he's been gone from us for a long time. When you do the history of the Heart Foundation or whatever, there's so many different iterations as well as it's gone through history. You obviously have the originals here, but then later on, when Owen comes in, and then like the British Bulldog when he was back there as a single, he was in that group as well. I think at some point Brian Pillman was in the Heart Foundation. It's like kind of all over the place. Kind of
I
built a
think you might
brand
have
as
to
a
stop sharing.
Hmm?
I think you might have to stop sharing.
All right, I got you. You're on.
All right.
Honest Abe
So
again.
we see right up front, Sean refuses to do business with Brett, which is pretty legit. Brief tag team double team from the Hart Foundation. Third match, Jim Neidhart isolated in the ring. That's it. Round 3.
Damn.
And
Go
the
to
person
sleep.
that you said too would be taking that L. All right. DX rolls on.
Well,
DX rolls on. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Well, DX moves on, makes it to the final four where they will face off against the
It was a
Road Warriors.
sleeper.
Right, where they'll face off against the Road Warriors. That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
If we
and
move
actually, I think that sets up a better is that
a better
quarterback?
match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because otherwise you've got kind of a
But
clash of styles.
mm,
Because you have Neidhart clubbering, and look, Bret Hart's worked against a lot of big wrestlers, but
Uh,
yeah. But I,
hmm.
but 80s basement fanboy would say, "Oh, the Road Warriors versus the Hart Foundation in
oh
1980,
yeah, yeah,
whatever, is going to be the greatest tag teams of all
yeah.
time. One WCW champion versus the WWF champion." Like that's what would happen. I agree with you. Where you're just having these other two dudes that are, these two singles that form a tag team, but they are rolling through, and they are our Cinderella story as the latest
Yeah,
seed
but I mean,
or the
they might
highest
as
seed
well
left.
got to buy their boy. They fought their boys in the second round or
Yeah,
whatever. What
finger
reportedly was
poke-a-doo.
just a terrible match, and
That's fair. All right, let's get over uh to the what's this, the region, territorial region. The number one seed, the Fantastics, went down to the Midnight Express, and the Midnight Express are in the Elite Eight, facing the Fabulous Freebirds. I do have some stats here, and so we're just talking about the Midnight Express version with Bobby and Stan Lane, one-time NWA World Tag Team Champions. What's this? Three-time U.S. Tag Team Champions. Tag Team of the Year in 1987. And when PWI did their ranking of greatest tag teams of all, they did it of all time, not being the year restriction that we had. They were ranked as the 32nd greatest tag team of all time.
Hmm.
Versus Bad Street USA, y'all. Again, a bunch of freaking regional tag team titles. Mid South UWF tag team champs 2 times. Georgia National Tag Team Champions 3 times. Tag Team of the Year in 81. World Class Tag Team Champions 4 times. Hall of Famers in 2016. Now, we all know that the Midnight Express should be in the WWF Hall of Fame. They're just not in because of Cornette and Cornette's politic of shitting on the WWF wrestling business. That's the only reason that they're not in. So clearly a Hall of Fame tag team. Brother Beavis, you get to go first here. These is one of your favorite wrestlers in Terry Gordy against your favorite podcaster, Jim Cornette
yeah,
in the Midnight Express.
yeah. And I'll use the same argument here. Like the team, the Freebird team, we put in here as Gordy and Roberts because we had Michael Hayes and something else, well, one or two other things. But I'm going to go with the Midnights here. I'm sure this match has happened on a number of occasions. I think this is, Buddy Roberts being the weak link.
Always.
I'm putting the Midnights through.
Hutch.
I'm going. Damn, they both were really good at being bad. If they beat up the Rock and Roll Express, I'm in. So I'm going with the Midnight Express.
That's terrible. Midnights are clearly the baby faces here, right? Like if this happened,
you would have to think so.
Yeah, Midnight Express are baby faces.
I mean, maybe there's somewhere it could be held like that would be reversed just because of like hometown crowd or something like that.
Yeah.
But
right. The
both
ladies
kind of
love some PS Michael Sexy Hayes. What was his name? Pretty Sexy Hayes.
Pretty sexy. Yeah. He would also maybe get his move. Again, we are not spoiled, but we are
privileged,
burdened with the version of the Freebirds that we have now with Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin that are fucking terrible. They're just terrible. Without Gordy, he's such a trump card, man. Like he makes everything better, like that's it, but I'm taking the Midnight Express too. Like, again, I think they were, again, I hated them because they beat up the Rock and Roll Express all the time. Didn't appreciate
not all the
them.
time.
to be fair, again, they're only one-time NWA Tag Team Champions, so I know who they beat. So, like I got that part, but they're just, again, they got to the point where they were so, I guess, hated or slash beloved, whatever. They got to the point where they didn't really need the tag team titles, though.
Yeah.
But they just gave them the U.S. titles because it was just easier for them to not have the world tag team titles to give them a belt.
But
So,
I mean, but Cornette sold them with his speech and all that stuff. So you just had to watch. You had to right. It was he made the matches. And he got involved and he got his ass kicked when it was necessary too. He took some lumps.
Well, them having a belt just gave the chance for somebody else to chase. I mean, that's all it comes down to.
And an R&R rewatch or whatever, I mean, it gets a little goofy because they're kind of flip-flopping between baby faces and heels, that part. And, they're kind of on their way out too, because they were not believed in, but it was that Jim Barnett or whatever. So they're kind of on their way out. But the version when we were watching, they were great. Like, I didn't appreciate them because, again, they were heels, but go back and look at some of that stuff. Like Bobby Eaton, great worker. Stan, underrated for what he could actually do. So
what was that move again? The Flapjack? What was that shit? Or they had a lot of moves, didn't they?
They have several finishers. Yeah.
Double Goozle, the Flapjack.
Double Goozle, Flapjack. Yeah. Yeah. Just
rocket launcher.
Yeah, exactly.
The missile? What was it called? The missile launcher?
Rocket launcher.
Rocket launcher.
Yeah. I'm taking the Midnights here as well. So we're unanimous on that. No Stimmy.
Yeah, and I did simulate it just for reference. I'm using a UWF version of the Freebirds, which is where I think
that's the better version.
More appreciation, and then a Superset 87 cards for the Midnight Express. And the simulator also went with the Midnights in after 12 minutes. Bobby Eaton pins Buddy Roberts with the chiropractor crunch. I'm not familiar with that move, but it sounds plausible that it was a Midnight.
Yeah.
Is Buddy Roberts still alive?
Probably.
I think so.
He was older than them, but I think he.
Yeah.
He's the third multi.
Come on. Better than that. The rat of the Freebirds, my God. Jim Ross definitely had special disdain for him. And we didn't even talk about it in 3 podcasts. We didn't even talk about the Freebird rule where any one of any 3 of them could, any 2 of the 3 could wrestle. I mean, they were heat getting son of a guns. They should have always been heels, but or at least probably Michael Hayes is wanting to be popular and to be a singer and all that bullshit kind of muddied the waters a little bit because he sucks. Like we've definitely noticed that he sucks. People, he can make a promo. Right, I guess. Gordy makes the whole thing work, and when he's not there, it's very noticeable. And yeah, all right, I'm taking the Midnights. We're good. Moving on to the final four.
Was in UWF was like, Gordy would be gone in Japan, and they would be getting the shit kicked out of them, running their mouths, and then Gordy would show up and just beat the hell out of everybody for the last few weeks.
Yes, this is great. If you had to, side brother topic, if you had to venture a guess of the time frame that we were able to watch the UWF, would you place it in years, months, or weeks?
I would say, well,
yeah, I know.
I remember it didn't seem like it was on consistently. Like it was on maybe a few weeks in a row. And
it was on that Indiana cable station.
I mean, if we saw it 8 to 10 times, that might have been it.
So weeks, weeks-ish, couple of months.
But
I would say the same thing. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking it was just like a few weeks, like, oh yeah, I remember this because it was so brand new. We never seen it before. It wasn't on all the time. Like if we saw 10 episodes of that, it'd probably be a lot. That's what I'm saying. And then it wasn't shortly thereafter that it folded up and it was gone. So All right, moving on
Yeah, well,
to the
there
final.
was a period where I think they had a strong Jim Crockett influence right before the sale, and
Mm,
then it went off, and they got some of them went, some of them didn't.
yep, most of the good ones went to the WWEF or well DiBiase at least, and then yeah, they just got split up. All right, our last match in the WWF WWE region, it's the Dudley Boys versus the Von Erichs. Von Erichs actually have a movie that's a biopic that's coming out, The Iron Claw. MJF is one of the people that is in it, but I believe the star of the movie is Zach Efron, playing
I think
a
MJF plays
Von
Lance
Erich.
Von Erich.
Yeah, of course he would. Yeah. So yeah, that should be out pretty fairly soon. Like I would imagine next year or at the end of this year at some point in time. Von Erichs, super popular. One of the lower seeds that made it through. Dudley Boys kind of taking out a lot of WWE tag teams, primarily the Hardy Boys, to get into this Elite Eight matchup. Just the internet statistics. Dudley Boys, 8 times ECW Tag Team Champions. Tag Team of the Year in 2001, 2007. Tag Team of the Decade of the 2000s, voted by PWI. TNA Tag Team Champions 2 times. WWEF Tag Team Champions 9 times. And then Hall of Famers in 16.
You
Von
still don't
Erichs.
get it.
Von Erichs. Yeah, I don't get it at all. Von Erichs very much smaller here in terms of their stuff. What did I even do with their notes? Like, oh yeah, I mean they just ran world class because they really never got outside of world class. They just stayed in Dallas. So multiple time world class tag team champions in various iterations. We are running with Kerry and Kevin in our tournament here. So I guess it's back to me at the top. I don't get it with the Dudleys. I'm taking the Von Erichs. That's pretty much it. If it's a tables, ladder, and chair match, I guess I would take the Dudley boys, but I'm taking the white meat baby faces. Hutch?
Um, I'm taking the Dudley boys. They would do anything. You're right. They got a lot of accolades. I'm going with them.
Magnum BB before the simulator.
Yeah, I mean, well. I mean, I don't know that we have a lot of history with either of these teams. Primarily, watching World Class on the ESPN syndication after school, but they were more often than not singles or just whatever. Kevin was one of my favorite. I think probably my favorite of all of them. I don't know, dude not wearing shoes and drop kicking people in the face. But I think realistically, like if from tag teams, and you read off a record. I think it's interesting that you think of the WWF TLC era and those teams, and the Dudleys are the ones we put through. I don't know. I think this is a case of like a dedicated tag team without a clear disadvantage against, primarily singles. And let's not also forget questionable to depend on to show up for the
That's
the
fair.
next match. So I can
Yeah.
see Dudley's here.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Okay. So y'all both take the Dudleys. I took the Von Erichs. I'm turning it over. So we're gonna go to the simulator on this one.
The Von Erichs are gonna win, but that's another story on the simulator.
It's curious.
All right, Honest
All right,
Dave
y'all.
still in.
Honest
Devon
Dave, man,
goes
he's
for
wrestling every
pile
match.
driver immediately.
Clubbing blow to the back.
Double
God.
teaming, more pile driving.
Damn. Devon.
Looks like it's breaking down in Tulsa.
Mm.
Double. Look at this. It's a double team. We got snap suplexes, reverse chin locks. First brain claw 5 minutes in.
Get the table.
Yeah.
Kevin with a tumble. That
They
could have been the finish. They're lucky they had
beat Ric Flair on that shit.
They're lucky they had Honest Abe.
Yes.
Bubba now trying to pin off a back body drop. That would not get you through in this competition.
Not against Kerry.
Breaking down in Tulsa again. The white dude gets a headbutt. Didn't expect that. Slugging right.
If 80s wrestling has told us anything, that their heads are.
Oh,
not
there we go.
hard.
There's the Wazop headbutt.
Waza.
Yeah. So,
What
I
the?
ain't get it.
yeah. Oh, I should also add this is the Von Erichs from the Promoters of Dream edition, which was our out of the box 1 through 60. If you weren't in the top 15, you probably sucked. So I think
Yeah.
Kerry was like 14, 12, 15, somewhere in
Yeah.
there. But I want to say
Okay.
Kevin might have been in the 20s. So
Former
lots of double teaming.
world heavyweight champion Kerry Von Erich.
It looks like they're kind
Check
of
the
stalling
set
for a little bit. Still
20
going.
minutes.
Still going. Okay,
Uh-oh.
so this is Dudley's win on some rapid fire punches, which is I don't know. I'd be willing to. I don't know. I think this goes back to the vote because that's not a finish for
Yeah.
that's not a finish
That's
for the
not a
team that put out
The 10 corner
the
count. Yeah.
juggernaut of Ric Flair and Greg
Two.
Valentine.
Yeah. Nobody's ever gotten pinned on the 10 punch count in the corner. Nobody.
But I
So-
think we did pick 2-1. I think the Dudleys.
Okay. So
The
the Dudleys
Dudleys.
move on. I got you. All right. So we got to our final four, y'all. It is the Dudley Boys. On one bracket, the Road Warriors versus DX. And our other final four matchup is the Midnight Express versus the Dudley Boys. Okay. So you brought this up before we get into that part of it, Brother Beavis, and if you're loading simulators, if you can. Well, I'll throw it to Hutch. So we had talked about how our bias again, we're clear, we are Marvel hacks. So we have like an inherent bias against DC. We are NWA, WCW hacks, I would say, as well. So there's an inherent bias against the WWEF. I would even say, and Brother Beavis, you can chime in on this if you believe it or not, I would say our bias against the WWEF is even higher than our bias against DC. Would that be fair?
Probably. I mean, there's some like crossover, but they pretty much made most of the people. Well, I can't say that. I was going to say most of the people had like a personality change into a clown, but that's not really true. I just think they always became less interesting. Like I can't remember. I mean, I don't know. I was really watching the time, but I know not one thing about the Steiners run in the WWF. I know the Road Warriors had to wear some plastic shoulder pads, and they had their run, but I don't remember it being like that. They had really real competition.
Right.
Dusty, we've kind of got a new eyes on, and it wasn't as bad as we remember. So, yeah, they were never like outside of like DiBiase, who became somebody different. Like they just kind of watered down all the people that we would have otherwise liked. So, yeah, and I think more so not. It's debatable, I think, in general, but I think definitely more modern era. The modern era WWF, I think, is not anything that's stuck to us for sure.
Okay. Hutch, would you say our dislike of WWEF is stronger than our dislike of Marvel, or is DC rather?
I think I like DC better than WWEF or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, again, yeah. You have more history with the DC people than we do, so.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of watched the WWE because I did like the British Bulldogs. I used to watch that Saturday Night Main Event. We watched a couple of them.
We got stories of watching that in our house in the basement with the three of us, amongst other people. But we used to watch that shit downstairs.
We watched a couple of those. I mean, it was something. I mean, at first it was different, but it's definitely way different than NWA, WCW stuff at the beginning, anyway, for sure.
Yeah.
So it was different. It did some stuff, but yeah, if I had my whatever my choice, I'm NWA all the way.
Right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go into these final four matchups, and before we get to our final match here, it's the Road Warriors versus DX, y'all. I think I'll go initially off the top. I'm gonna take this out of the stream. gonna take this off the top here. If I took the Steiners there and I didn't get it, I'm definitely taking the Road Warriors here. Like it's going to come to a point where DX shouldn't win. Like they're gonna get to the point where if we're going to lose, we're gonna lose to what we consider to be the best tag team in this thing. So we'll do the job here. We weren't gonna do it to anybody else, but we'll do it here. Meaning Triple H, would do the job here. And Sean would get to bounce around for these dudes all over the place because they could throw him all over the place and he would look, great. And I think that's how that would go. So I'm taking the Road Warriors in this instance. So we're going up to the top. Hutch, who you taking?
I see OC/TT on 7 all day, all night with the Road Warriors.
Okay. The Road Warriors got 2 votes. Magnum BB.
Yeah, and if Sean doesn't want to do business, he can't stop the Road Warriors from kicking his ass in this match.
Correct.
So
yeah.
if he makes it to the ring, his ass is getting pinned, or Triple H is going to save him from getting pinned. So Road Warriors all day.
Road
I didn't
Warriors
simulate this.
Did not?
I did
Okay.
Not, no. I had a feeling
That's fine.
this was not going to be in contention.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so the Road Warriors make it through to the final.
And they
very Crockett Cuppy, y'all. Very Crockett Cuppy. Our other final 4, the Midnight Express versus the Dudley Boys. I think that's.
I would love to see that match if it ever.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think wrestling nerd me would be like, oh no, that would be a really good match. Midnight's would have to wrestle as the heels here. And I think they could shine the Dudleys up, make them look really good before all of the fucking tables and all the other shit that would come along with it. There's probably a version of that match somewhere out there, maybe. Like at an indie. At an indie, because when the Dudleys would have come up in early ECW days, like they would have, the Midnight Express would have been OVW-ish, like Cornette doing his independent thing. So they might have crossed paths that way. But I mean, it would have been rough.
I think if this was quote unquote real and in the right place, I think it'd be a 50-50 crowd.
Yeah. I don't know.
But even like
Miami,
a lot of the Philly and Baltimore were Midnight Express towns toward the end because they were the smart fans who would cheer.
And those are high ECW freaking enclaves there, especially Philly, which was their home. So, this is like probably NWA bias here, but I probably, but knowing what's on the other side of that bracket, like putting one through is like almost a guarantee that the other side would win.
Yes.
But in the same breath, would the Road Warriors do business with the Dudleys with all the fucking hoo-ha with tables and ladders and chairs? Oh my.
They'll do business. The Road Warriors will do business as long as they win.
Well, I listened to the that series show for a while with Bubba Ray, and I think he's like a fan of both of these teams. Like I don't think he would not put up an argument that these are the best, if not among the best, if not the best. So I think that if you left it to wrestler politics, it might be let us go through so we can lose to the Road Warriors just to have that match.
Right.
But I don't think there would be no shame in losing to the Midnight Express, who I think probably a lot of wrestlers recognize as really the best working tag team in the business.
Right.
So I do agree. I think you could. This is one where the where kind of matters, but it doesn't, because you could see it being 50-50 almost anywhere, because you go deeper into into WCW NWA territory, it probably ironically becomes pro Dudleys, because now the Midnights are the heels unless there are heels. But if you go into ECW territory, that's where the Midnight Express also got over. So, yeah, I think looking at it from the matchup, I could see it definitely going either way. But I think probably the Midnights go through.
Yeah, I'm saying Midnights as well, knowing full well what could happen there, because we saw it 1,000 times. Hutch,
I thought that, well, when I was looking at these things and I was looking at the stats and whatnot, I'm like, the Dudleys won the shit 9 times in the WWE.
Or it
And-
was
and-
9 in WWE or in ECW.
and 8 in the
no, 8 in ECW, 9-time tag team champs in
I was
in
like,
WWF.
I was like, weren't they a number 1 seed?
Right.
Right. So
Look up the Hardys and how many times they won the tag team title
yeah.
in WWEF.
Right. So, I mean, I was completely out of wrestling, completely out, whatever that means. But when you did turn on the TV, I mean, I heard about these Oompa Loompas in ECW, and I never watched ECW.
Right.
And then they were in the WWE. I didn't watch it, but I heard about them. So they did something to excite people. And then
Bubba, get the tables.
Right. They did something, and they just did crazy shit. Crazy to me. Now it's kind of normal. So
Yeah,
I'm taking the Dudleys.
of course. To the simulator.
All right.
If it's up.
I could bring it up. So I figured the previous sims would go through, so I already ran this one as well. So the simulator had this go to a 30-minute time limit draw,
Of course.
with the slight edge to the Midnights, which, based on our conversation, I think probably either draw, win on points, some kind of fuck finish, Midnights go over. I think probably is about where
Dudley stay strong, still look strong, but not having to finish, do a job. Yeah.
Do it to the pin. Pin for the win. I don't know. I ain't spending $200 on them tickets, them fucking draws. How much them fucking beers cost?
A lot.
Pretzels?
Hey man, no pretzels. Bad, high sugar and salt content. It's not good for anybody.
I'm watching 200 pound dudes do fake moves. Shit, give me all the fake salt and sugar and beer that I can take. They got white pills for that.
So surprise, surprise, we got the Midnight Express versus the Road Warriors in the finals.
Yes. Midnight Express versus the Road Warriors, as usual. So here becomes
now, as a fan of the Rock and Roll Express, and the Rock and Roll Express probably has more wins against Midnights, right? Overall, aren't you hurt? Aren't the Rock and Roll Express you like the Bengals, and this is the fucking and the Midnights of the Chiefs or somebody? You could be here, ref. You could be that number 2 team.
Again, now understanding the business of wrestling more, I totally understand why the Rock and Roll Express is better for them to chase as opposed to win. Like, because once they had it, then what do you do? Like, it's just it. Like, they're not a strong enough dominant team like the Road Warriors to keep the belt to fight off all comers. The money is in the chase. So, yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that. Again, at the time, like I know Hutch, you're always somebody that used to cheer for the villain, like that. It's personality trait. Like, that's fine. I didn't get that back then, but now I understand it. Like, the villain. I've been listening to some of our old podcasts, and I keep sending them to you. And one of Brother Beavis's main points continually, either through comic books and comic book movies, is the villains make these things. If the villain is bad, the whole thing goes to shit. One of the reasons that wrestling right now is shitty is There's no clear lines between heels and babyface. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the heel except MJF, and he's so over the top at it. It doesn't, it comes off kind of hokey sometimes. Nobody wants to be the heel. You need to have
Who's MJF?
AEW. You need to have somebody that people hate. It drives the business.
Yeah.
When you
And
have
it's crazy
people,
how it's not just in the angle, but it also affects how the matches are worked. And if it's not
right,
if there's no clear heel or baby, like we saw all these babyface heel tag team matches in that hokey tournament. It's like, this is awful. This is just people doing moves. Like there's
Right.
no drama to the match. It's not really even worth watching. Which is the argument against the spot fest of modern wrestling right now.
Yep, that's it. You have to have, and nobody wants to get yelled at and jeered in the freaking airport because they want everybody to be his friends. Break kayfabe. It's just a character that I play on television or whatever. Like, okay, so that means it's all crap. It's not that we didn't know, don't know, or whatever. But even if didn't know, or whatever, that it's fake, you still like want to cheer for or cheer against the person. And if you don't have anybody to cheer against, it's just dudes doing moves, man.
I think we know too much.
I that's fair, Hodge. Before we get to the final or whatever, like I was thinking about this today, that nobody watches wrestling anymore. Okay, AEW can struggle to get maybe 1 million people to watch it on TNT or TBS. WWE Raw can get, like, if it gets to 2 million people, that's like a plus. During the Nitro Wars, man, there were like 10 million people watching wrestling every Monday night. Like, that's insane. Nobody watches it anymore. It's like people are like, oh, because everybody knows it's fake. I'm pretty sure I knew it was fake in 1998. Like, I knew it was fake, but you came back because of the storylines and who you were cheering for and against. Now, everybody knows that it's fake, but nobody watches. It's become roller derby. That's what it is. It's just a niche. It's a niche and a niche. That's it. Yep.
Right. What I don't. Yeah. Monday is Raw or whatever. I don't. Yeah. I would rather watch not paint dry. It's a little bit higher up on the scale than paint drying.
Yeah.
But
it's a niche.
But
and a
yeah,
niche,
I'm not going to break or whatever to turn on any wrestling at this point in my life.
It's become roller derby, boxing, horse racing. It's just like something that some people like kind of pay attention to. Whereas before, those three things used to be these huge bits, and now wrestling's just, it is what it is. All right, let's get to this match, y'all. I guess we have to take the Road Warriors, but we also have to run. Can we run it as a scaffold match?
Why don't you run the tape?
Yeah, how about we run it this way? The simulator picks the champion. Because I think we'd all pick the Road Warriors if given our choice here.
Well, yeah.
We let the simulator pick the champ here.
Right.
It's probably going to turn out the same way anyway. But
it's Precious Paul, and he hasn't done anything in these matches, has he? Or we've been letting him roll for the last couple of things.
Yeah, we didn't put the managers in. That would be interesting. I don't know. I think this would be set up to have manager interference, but it's not. I have the results.
You have the results? Oh, okay. So wait, before you tell us that though, you already seen it, but are we man, we need the Price Waterhouse people with the envelopes. Are we just gonna go with the result?
I think I'm okay. This is almost has to be like a business of wrestling. Like the reason the Road Warriors would win the Crockett Cup, a Halloween Havoc, whatever that was, is because you didn't have to take it off of them. So it was a way to keep them strong, keep them as the top tag team without having to mess up your title picture. And so this would be the quintessential place where you would put the Road Warriors over. Now, that being said, I feel like the Road Warriors, made a lot of money with the Midnights, always were made to look good by the Midnights, and would have no issue doing business and or putting them over if that was what was right for business. So I think, you could see this going either way, and it would largely depend on what else was going on in the rest of the wrestling world outside of this fictitious tournament, and also when it was happening. So.
If the Midnights won, you would. I mean, the whole world. I mean, I think people would pay attention. I think the Road Warriors would play pissed and so like, wait till next year. We're gonna fucking kill them guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Cornette cheated. He threw salt in our face or something. He changed.
And think about
needles.
and if that were to happen, think about the chase. Like of them chicken shit healing the entire time, running away from them, and finally catching up to them at some point in time, either at a pay-per-view or something like that. I mean, by the time they actually got their hands on Cornette, I mean, again, to use his expression, people would be throwing babies in the air. So,
didn't he break his leg or something in real?
Yes, in the scaffold match. Yeah, right. I think he tore his both knees out, like both ACLs or something to that effect. That blew out.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, He sold himself. He sold. I mean, the Midnights were great. I mean, they did it all. And hey, I watched them scaffold matches coming back from military school, whatever. Y'all, you would run them shits left and right.
What else are we gonna do? There was no bitches, man. All right, brother Beavis. Who's the winner of the 64 greatest tag teams from 85-ish to 2001? And who's the winner?
I took Hawk. Hawk's going to beat Penn Bobby in the 14th minute. That's my guess.
I'm calling for a squash. 5 minutes. Road Warriors win. Less than 5.
So the best part of the simulation results is
damn.
First of all, we have slow count Sam.
Oh shit!
The first and second minute, Hawk no sells the hit with tennis racket.
Damn it!
And then Animal no sells the next move. They got C on defense. So I thought that was pretty funny. Then to make a long story short, in the unlikely, almost Road Warrior
chiropractor
almost
crunch
counted out.
Ooh. 13 minutes.
I said 14.
14 minutes.
Oh fuck!
Is there a run in?
2 count.
Eye rake.
Slow count.
Yeah, that's not great.
Slow count. Yeah. Damn, 27 minutes.
Yeah. But I mean,
Spinebuster,
the Midnight
28th minute. Road Warrior Hawk pins Bobby Eaton.
Oh, close.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I can't see them working a 28-minute match. I mean, even for the finals.
No. So the
are these? Is this? You think this is a 1 day or 2 day event?
Crockett Cup was 1 day.
Right.
So how many teams was that though? 16. Something like that. We have to Google that.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I don't think it was 32.
Yeah, because I think they might have wrestled like 3 matches.
Yeah. I can't imagine that was that many. Again, I lost interest after the Rock and Roll Express lost. So the greatest tag team of all time.
Imagine
Kiwi Sheepers.
Imagine Dragons.
Rip Butch, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, Rip. Yeah, R.I.P. We were just talking about them. Are they both alive? Jinx. Damn. Yes. Kiwi Sheepherder Butch passed away this past week. All right. Any surprises as we get close to the hour mark, which is where I figured we'd be? Any surprises? We're not surprised the Road Warriors won, right?
Yeah, I know. I feel like that was a foregone conclusion.
This was the Dave Chappelle. I wonder what's going to win.
I listened to that podcast the other day. Brother Beavis had a point of that. Yes, Rick James had won, but Prince maybe shouldn't have made it as far as it could have or should have. Like it could have gotten knocked out. It could have not knocked out by. I don't remember who it wrestled against or wrestled. I don't remember who it went up against. Maybe it might have been like Wayne Brady or something like that. and that he had
Damn,
made
that's a good one,
the
too.
argument that Wayne Brady should have made it over Prince. But besides that, I don't think that this was a for sure for the Road Warriors. Like I think it could have been not any number of teams, but again, like I picked the Steiners to beat them there. I kind of thought that the Steiners would get through, but I couldn't see any of the other ones winning, maybe except for maybe the Hearts, but I'm not really sure.
That OC tag team on 7. I mean, most of these groups had OC tag team on 7, but the fucking the clotheslines for double digit. That I mean, that's going to beat most folks. It and this injury part. If you get this injuries, you look at the Road Warriors wearing you for 5-6 turns. Katie bar the door.
Yeah.
All right, I've got
And
it
they're
set
not
up
gonna
with
submit either.
managers.
Oh, with managers,
No
we're gonna run it.
DQ.
No
Or,
DQ.
no DQ, no DQ, no time limit. Do we want to have Texas Death or something?
Put it in a cage.
Oh,
Well, if you put it in a cage, then the managers don't.
Oh,
listen.
the managers are they're neutralized.
scaffold.
There is no scaffold.
There's no
Oh,
scaffold.
I thought there was a scaffold.
Well, if you put it in Texas Death, now you get double X on 7 too. So
Okay, there you go. Yeah, Texas
Let-
Death.
Texas Death. Oh, this is
Bloody.
all right. So let me.
This would be about
Run them shits.
This
I think
definitely be about a 9
I put it
minute
on
match.
like the dramatic pause and real time counts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
This is definitely Moonlight coming back to win the Oscar over La La Land here. Like, oh yeah, wait, the winner. Wait, what? Huh? Oh no, Moonlight actually won. Sorry. Yeah, we're gonna come back as the Midnight. Come back and win this thing. Here we go.
Then they'll be like 2 out of 2. All right. See how this goes.
Here we go, y'all. If you're watching on YouTube, you're able to see this play out.
Jim Cornette executes yank fistful of hair.
Nice. What hair?
Concrete body slam. Arm bar.
Arm bar. Jinx.
Tight on points. Arm bar. What's Hawk doing with all his wrestling moves?
Hey, man. Got to show that he's a rail-rounded
Tennis
fella.
racket. Kick out at 1. Yep. That's
10th minute.
smash with 2x4. Smash with 2x4.
Texas Death, I guess. 12 minutes.
Oh, Hawk's injured.
Nice. Beat that ass. Beat that ass. Beat Animal's
99
ass.
101.
Making a comeback. Yes, let's go. Stay late, Bobby.
What?
Coming back.
Hawk should be back now. Yeah.
Yeah, it was after 5 rounds. Now that wrecking cream.
Arm bar.
Can we
Watch
do a
out for the
third,
spine
fourth
buster.
place?
Watch out for the spine buster. That's been killer
They
for,
put everybody
Road
away
Warriors
with the
here.
spine. Oh, there it is.
there.
1,
It is.
2,
2,
3.
3.
Same result in 6 minutes faster.
Yeah.
From
With
behind
weapons
on
and
points, the
whatnot.
Road Warriors pull it out.
Mhm.
That's probably about right.
That sounds about right. Yes.
They sold it, and then
Yeah.
hey, we're the
They
Road
created the
Warriors.
drama with Hawk being injured. Animal had to get carry the load. That sounds right. Same
That
result. A little bit of story. Cornette
Hmm.
can't say he got fucked and kept out of the match. So
Nice.
there
Okay.
you go.
The Road Warriors move on. Again, not unsurprising, but I'd like their path to get there. Look at their path to the championship, though. Over the
Gave them 2 or 3 free
Lightning
passes, didn't we?
Lightning
Express
Express.
was a
I would
pass.
not say that. Logan and over Luger and Wyndham.
That was the double injury match.
Yeah. Then over Volkov and Sheik.
That was kind of
Then the Steiners, and then over the Midnight Express. That's a pretty decent path to get gotten there. Like I'm okay with that. The Midnight Express got to the finals by beating hold on. The US Express. then
Somebody
Dusty and
impressive.
Nikita,
Yeah.
then the
Fantastic.
Fantastics, then the Freebirds, and
That's
then get to the finals.
that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good
That's
showing for them.
Yeah, that's a pretty good showing. You know, being the runner-up in this tournament to the Road Warriors is not a bad thing for your wrestling career.
Look, we both know who loses those Crockett Cups,
Hmm.
or whatever that's.
Yeah.
The bad guys never won the Crockett Cup, right?
I can only remember two of them, and which is the Road Warriors won the first one, and then Dusty and Nikita the next one. If anything that happened after that, I have no idea. That's like 87, 88 that we're getting into. Hey, I ain't watching this stuff no more. So if there was one in 89,
I don't think there was anymore.
oh no, there's multiple Crockett Cups that we have nothing to do with. The NWA the NWA as an entity still exists. It's just nobody knows or cares, but it does still exist. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it does exist still. As Brother Beavis's OCD is kicking in to figure out how many Crockett Cups there are. As I can see him
well, there was 3 of them in the first run. The Road Warriors won the first one against Ronnie Garvin and Magnum TA. Because Dusty was, I think, I think Dusty fought Flair or something.
Yeah, the singles match against Flair. I think that was in the Superdome in New Orleans.
And then the second one, the Superpowers beat Tully and Lex.
That's weird.
And then Sting and Lex Luger versus Arn and Tully.
Sting and Luger?
Damn.
Yeah. That sounds kind of weird. That sounds kind of familiar too. Like Lex and Sting beat somebody, or it was Wyndham and Luger. Like I thought there was another one. Like
Luger
that.
and Sting beat Arn and Tully. They got a bye, then beat Ivan Koloff and Dick Murdoch. Beat the Midnight Express and beat the Powers of Pain. Powers of Pain beat the Road Warriors.
No. DQ.
Tully and Arn got a bye, and then they got a bye, and then they effectively got a bye. I think there was something goofy in the bottom bracket. Then they beat the Fantastics, and so they only wrestled twice to get to the final.
So those 3 years. So I mean, we would have known about that last one then with Sting and before Tully and Arn leave for WWF. So we would have known it was again. Remember, the push is 88. That I definitely think I stopped watching, not 89. I was definitely out of the game. So.
And then the current
right,
NWA has had a few, but those
quite a few, I think, from looking at it. Yeah, you would know absolutely nobody that's in that. Right. Okay.
So Tito Santana's people called in and said they need to be in the next one.
Yeah.
Strike Force.
And now I think about it, I was like, Strike Force, but again, a tag team that was put together to break up. Weren't together long, it was just to break them up. Like, it was no, I think what Pan Am Connection or whatever, and then that was then the Strike Force, and then they
Can-Am.
Yeah, Can-Am, excuse me, Pan Am. With the plane. So, also doesn't exist anymore. All right, so we still owe y'all one WrestleMania, y'all, from 1990. It's WrestleMania 6. It's Hogan and the Warrior. There might be a reason we've been avoiding it, y'all. So that'll close us out for WrestleMania season as we move into the spring of 1990 before whatever WCW has to offer us before they start to fall completely apart too. So that's it, y'all. Again, no real surprises here. Road Warriors win. So on the podcast version of this, I'll make an executive decision as a producer. We'll have Iron Man play us out. Yeah, we got to, right? Like, doesn't that make sense?
Road Warriors win. We can't get this on the Peacock then.
No. We'll have them play us out. Again, Road Warrior pop, a real thing. Even when they played it in the Iron Man movie, it was just like, huh? Oh, yeah, it was kind of a hype. Yeah, it was like, ooh, oh, okay. So yeah, we'll play us out. Again, the producers podcast, find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, all of those types of places. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Magnum BB, your favorite tag team of all time. One of the greatest stories ever, Hutch. I don't know if you've ever heard this story. You probably have. I was watching wrestling at his house with Magnum BB, and his dad was there, and
He was in the kitchen.
He was in the kitchen, yeah. And then Ric Flair, I think it was Flair.
It
Ric
was
Flair,
wrestling Hawk.
yeah, pile drove Hawk, like, like got him up for a pile driver, and he's like, Dad, Dad, and then Hawk like got up and no sold it. Like,
never mind.
No.
Because my dad hated Ric Flair. Like the Road Warriors were my boys, but I was gonna root for Ric Flair just to antagonize my dad. And I guess I was not as versed in Hawk's no selling of everything.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Dad, never mind. Yeah.
Never mind. I think that might have been one of Tommy Young's where he like tapped on Hawk's traps, like, oh. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's silly
as shit. Yes. Again, yeah. Wrestling is supposed to be silly and fun, but it should be kind of serious at some point in time. Like, you need to suspend disbelief there for a little bit, and that is pretty much gone for the most part. All right, Hutch, sign off, man. It's still real to you, damn it.
It's still, yeah. Road Warriors win. Maybe we'll do this again in 2 or 3 years. But yeah, we'll see.
Yes, well, add the Young Bucks to it or something. Cap, not happening. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all for WrestleMania 1990, WrestleMania 6. Oh, I have to put it through it. All right, y'all. We'll see everybody. Peace.
Later.
Peace.
That's funny.